Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing dedicated service to this nation. Having worked his way up from the enlisted ranks to full colonel, he served our country for more than 32 years. He has served as a bomber squadron commander, bomb disposal technician, Joint Chiefs of Staff Operations Officer, assisted the National Security Team with the campaign plan for the global war on terrorism. He authored the first theater nuclear war plan and served as the Vice Commander of America's largest airborne intelligence wing. Colonel Rob Maness is a true American hero. This is Rob Maness Live.
All right, so I want y'all to see what the locals are doing. This ain't the government, this is the locals. Joe Biden and Kamala ain't doing shit. These are locals with their equipment, and this is the bridge they made to get to the other side. I got one of the operators here. So was this a big ass bridge? I mean, like what, 2-lane, like what, like he was just saying?
2-lane bridge, and you can see the original columns, and we washed all the free spans away, and we took what was left of the bridge and made a little bridge so people could get in and out.
And these people on the other side, they've been watching you all day, or excited you connecting them again?
Yeah, they fed us lunch. They're so excited to be able to get their vehicles out and go to town and get supplies. They've been in there for 2 weeks as of today.
That's amazing, man. So you guys, this bridge washed out. You guys can see the concrete. I'll zoom in on a little bit. And have you seen Department of Transportation or anything come up here and help y'all? Have they been helping you or tell you not to do something or do it?
Yeah, they kind of got us and give us the okay, to go ahead and put a bridge in, get the guys out.
And look at this thing, man. This is what I'm talking about when Americans come together for each other. They took the old bridge and made a bridge to connect these good people on the other side so they can come to town and get supplies and not have to be ferried in like we are right now. We just brought them in a bunch of diesel on that side-by-side.
Thank you.
If you could say anything to Donald Trump, what would it be?
100% supporting you.
Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Fighting the disaster war in the Great Smoky Mountains. Welcome back to More War Monday. The Rob Maness Show is live on World YouTube and our X Spaces simulcast. Well, every day, from the beginning of the disaster in western North Carolina, locals and civilians have responded to help each other. The government response is increasing, especially from the National Guard and active Army forces, but the locals and civilians are still carrying our fellow citizens, and that's a wonderful thing. Well, my guest today is Chad Caton. Chad is from South Carolina, a surrogate for the 2024 Trump campaign's Veterans for Trump Coalition. He's the founder of Operation Free Nation. He's a retired firefighter. He's also a U.S. Navy CB veteran, so very comfortable in that environment you just saw, and host of the I'm Fired Up show. And he joins me to discuss the civilian ops that he's part of in North Carolina right now, and that is his video report you just watched. If you haven't noticed, folks, we don't get much on the ground reporting like we just saw from Mr. Caton, so we're dedicating as much of our time as possible to do the reporting the government media refuses to do about the facts. Chad, welcome back to the Rob Maness Show.
Colonel, it's always a pleasure. I hope you guys can hear us and see us okay. I don't have my usual beautiful hair because I haven't had a shower in 5 days, so this is what you get when you're in the middle of a war zone.
Well, we hear you just fine, and nice hair, Chad. Nice hair.
My hair is amazing. Thank you, Colonel.
Hey, first of all, I want to tell you how much we appreciate your reporting. I'm following all of your videos closely. I know you're not always in a good area, but you're actually doing what the regime media is not doing. I mean, you're out there talking to people, and you're looking at what's happening on the ground. And we just haven't seen a whole lot of that. So I just want you to know I appreciate that. Go ahead and tell us about the organization and the operation that you're up there with. You've been up there since what, for 5 days now, 6 days?
I think we've kind of lost track of days. It's been a lot of long days, but yeah, we're right around 5-6 days, something like that. I'm up here with healcorp.org, and that is heal-corp.org. And with all the donations, nobody's getting paid here. And we're also up here with the medical aspect of what we're doing, Padre Pio Alliance, along with Spartan Sword. This is where people and real organizations that are about the people come together and get things done. And that's what we're seeing up here. The wind is crazy today. We're able to do this because we're not able to get out on the Blackhawk that has been afforded to us to continue to do our job. And I'm sure we'll get into what we're doing specifically here in a bit, Colonel.
Absolutely. So go ahead and describe where you're at and what's in the background behind you, so folks understand what we're looking at here.
So it's going to be we're really an uneven area here, and I've actually got my buddy Jason standing on my tripod because of the wind. So everything is terrible here, just so you know. So where I'm standing right now is in Burnsville, North Carolina, and what you can see here behind me is a huge water tank, I guess is what we're calling it. We're not exactly sure. And then I'm going to try to pan down here. I want you to be able to see the vehicles that are in the water. Go ahead and let go. If you can see that, that's a pickup truck, and there's another car that is upside down right here. And basically this creek or river, or we're not exactly sure what it was, but everything came down here and smashed into these bridges. That's what caused a lot of the water, is that it kept hitting bridges. All the debris would clog it up, and then all of a sudden the bridge would let go. That would bring 100 or 40-foot walls of thunder coming down these mountainsides into these towns, where it's just a nice babbling brook, and all of a sudden, because of something that happened upstream and that was blocking water and making dams, it would go down and hit another one, and then it would block up, and then it would go down and hit another one, and it would block up, until it got to a big concrete, where you saw in the video that you showed that it was taking out entire concrete bridges and their pylons because the pressure was so much behind them. And then once that went released, it just came down here at 100 miles an hour at 40 feet high, making streams that are 20 feet across into 180 feet across and 100 feet deep. And I know those numbers sound crazy, but that's what we're seeing up here.
Wow. So you're not sure whether that body of water behind you is a river or a creek, but you know it's obviously been widened and deepened.
Yes, sir. I'm assuming it was a creek here, and I could pan the camera, and there's a building that has been taken out also. We're kind of in a flat, and we're right on the main thoroughfare, what they call 9W or 9 East. And I mean, you can hear the cars come by, but it was all right here. Came down the entire side of this city or town in Burnsville, and then subsequently to Spruce Pine, and then it kept going to hearing some of the other small towns that you've heard of. And then you have the outlying areas that are up in the mountains that the same type of thing happened, to the point where railroad tracks were tied into a knot. The metal from train tracks were tied into a knot. Think about the force it would take to make those metal train tracks get all bent up and tied up into this. The force was unbelievable. It looks like 9/11 for 100 miles.
Wow. So what's the general sense of the local population on the ground now? I know you've been out talking to a lot of folks, especially in that area. What is the sense of how they're feeling at this point, 2 weeks on now, especially with the slow response at the beginning from the government?
Well, that's just it. The Appalachian people are amazing. We have met so many amazing people. Just this morning, we found an elderly man that his truck had driven into a sinkhole in his front tire. I posted it on my Twitter, and it was absolutely ridiculous on how his car was in the middle of his car front tire was in this sinkhole, and Jason had to use his diesel truck and pull him out of it. The resiliency you saw in the opening video, those are all locals with their own equipment that sat out there and built that bridge to connect the other side so those people could come to town. It's crazy to see how resilient the Appalachian people are, how humble they are, and how much they're all about taking care of their communities. And to the point where we had older lady come and get water and dressed very disheveled, and she only wanted 4 bottles of water for her meds and a couple things. She goes, "I don't need any more than that. Let other people take it." So these people are all about taking care of each other, and we're seeing it no matter where the helo takes us, when we're going deeper into the mountain, or here in these small towns of Burnsville or Spruce Pine.
That's good news, and not surprising. You know, my dad's people come from, that's the heart of where they come from. Even though they're in West Tennessee now, but we have relatives all over that part of this country, and that's the kind of people they are. So you mentioned the helicopter. Where are you getting the helicopter support from? Can you let folks know what organization's providing that?
I can on half of it. We've got a lot of Colonel Dawkins with Samaritan Purse has got us in the first R40 or the Robinson 44 when we went out there and were able to get into a couple tight areas that a Blackhawk can't be. The other one, when you're seeing the videos on my page with the Blackhawk, is just known as Old Black Betty, and it is one of two privately owned Blackhawks in the United States by a wealthy benefactor that chooses not to have his name out there.
Outstanding. Well, I mean, that's good news. You know, that's
real good news, Colonel. There's nothing like saying you go from a Robinson 44 to a Blackhawk. I promise you that.
Oh, I've seen the videos. We're going to play a few of those videos. I don't know if we got any from inside the Blackhawk, but all of the videos today are your reporting. So people are going to see that when we go in and out of breaks and those kind of things. How is your team operating when you go into a location? What's your mode of operation? You taking supplies in? I know you're a medic. So what's your goal when you go to each of these locations?
Well, the great thing about Heal Corp directly is that there's not a whole lot we can't do. We move fast in the quick response kind of fashion. You know Boone Cutler from 5G Warfare. He wrote that book with General Flynn. I know he's been on this show. He's actually standing right over here. I will get him in here for a cameo here in a minute. But Boone Cutler and his military background, my military background, along with being a firefighter at Horry County Fire Rescue and an EMT and medic, we're able to bring those things in a small way. Jason, who's out here, is driving his truck and driving us all around. And what we're able to do is make the connections. And what we're currently working on right now is, I don't know if you saw the Red State piece that Neil McCabe interviewed me. What we're worried about at Heal Corp right now is the 120 days, 90 to 100 days when the winter comes in here, and these people have no electricity, they have no running water, and we're trying to find these communities. And the great part about it is they have a nice church usually in the middle of their community, and we're making that the hub, and we're trying to make sure we get the right generators there. So at the very least, in a place called Poplar, North Carolina, for instance, they have about 300 elderly folk that live up there, and they're servicing their generators. That can become very tiresome, and let's say in a 4-foot storm, snowstorm. But what they can do is they can bring them down to the church, and we're going to make sure those churches are nice and warm so they have a place to go. So we're not coming back here as a national devastation again, based off of just the fact that it did what it always did, the snow and the cold weather. So right now, myself, Jason, and Boone Cutler are working on the necessities and making assessments on drop points and distribution of those the generators, the fuel. How are we going to get fuel here? How are we going to get fuel here? We're trying to look ahead to make sure that we can not turn this into another situation where not only are they worried about survival, but we have to go in and rescue.
Yeah, that's a big concern I have. It's on my list of things to continue this conversation about is the cold weather is moving in up there. And we have to make sure that these folks don't need to be rescued again. So that's good to hear. I'm glad that you all are looking at that. Well, we got to take a commercial break, Chad. When we come back, we'll see another video from your reporting. It's the truck in the hole. You just mentioned the gentleman that you helped get the truck out of the hole. I think it was this morning or yesterday morning. Is what the video is that we'll see. We'll be right back with Chad Caton, who's on a team with Boone Cutler and Jason, and they are doing assessments and planning for wintertime and helping folks get supplies and medical care in Western North Carolina. We'll be right back on the Rob Maness Show on Worldview Tube.
Constantly driving around and finding ourselves in a situation. Just drove by and this old fella just fell into this. Let me get a light. As you can see, fell into this hole. So we're gonna try to yank him out of here. See what we can do with this old Chevrolet.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's More War Monday. We're fighting the disaster war in Western North Carolina, and Americans are stepping up. American veterans are stepping up. My guest today is Chad Caton, former CB, retired firefighter, EMT, who is up there with Boone Cutler and a small team, just doing their part, doing assessments and some pre-planning for wintertime, making sure folks are able to get the supplies they need and do things like what you just saw right there. You didn't see it in the clip, but they successfully got that gentleman's vehicle out of that sinkhole. And Chad, welcome back to the Rob Maness Show here on Worldview Tube and our X Spaces simulcast.
Thanks for having me back. I appreciate being here. We need to get this message out. The local media is not doing it, Colonel.
Yeah, exactly right. So what happened with the gentleman? He's in a parking lot at what looks like a gas station, and it looks like the parking lot just fell out from underneath his tire.
Yes, sir. Colonel, we were driving into Burnsville today, and we saw, coming over a hill, we saw what looked like a truck was doing a nosedive, really. And there was another red truck there, and of course, Boone and I are like, well, that guy, I think, fell in the hole. Let's turn around. And of course, Jason turned us around, and we went back there and assessed the situation. And I think he drove into it. I don't know that the sinkhole happened by him driving over it. We're not sure of that. But I mean, he was nice, cool, calm, and collective. He goes, I don't know, I'm in the hole, bro. You know, he was very, very calm, cool, and collective. And another gentleman that had a red truck, he was also a firefighter. He had a job shirt on, and he had a chain took to his back, but I don't think it had enough oomph to get it because it was sitting on the A-arm. And we assessed the situation. We got Jason's diesel Denali Silverado. I guess it's all those things, already, isn't it? Yeah, he's got a full-on, Chevy power, and we hooked up another chain that Jason had in his truck, and we were able to stabilize it and then pull that thing out and get that. All he lost was a mud flap. So he was pretty happy to be out of that situation.
So what caused that? Did water get underneath that parking lot somehow from a river? Or?
So a lot of these connected to 19W, and there's basically big water areas or ditches on each side. A lot of these places have small bridges or really nice bridges, the concrete ones. And what we found is this water came so fast and so furious that water's always going to go the path of least resistance. It obviously found a way under the asphalt, and then what it did is it just collapsed in after it continued to take any of the sediment and dirt that was underneath it. Asphalt's good, but if there's nothing underneath it, it doesn't do much. So it made a big gully and a nice sinkhole right here. But I do know that the counties have gone around and they're trying to figure that. We're seeing that with the roads when you get up into the hills. There was so much water going over the road that it took out the other lane. So there may be only one lane. There's places where only mules can go to, that we have some boys from West Texas doing mule operations and loading up the mules with water and medicine and taking them up the mountain, along with side-by-sides, ATVs. People are loading those up and taking people into the places that you couldn't necessarily get to because those washouts happened. The amount of water here and the amount of devastation is it's unfathomable.
Yeah, are we to the point where the Department of Transportation, the local guys, are out marking these so people don't drive into them at this point, or should people just be very aware that, hey, you're probably still going to see some unmarked hazards like this sinkhole?
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, it's like I got some dust coming in here, is going to run us over, but everybody needs to be cognizant of what's going on around them everywhere here right now, because one thing that Boone Cutler is getting GS maps of there's been 600 landslides, and within 48 hours there was 94 more. So the geography here is still moving in some places. So I will say this: Department of Transportation has built roads. They have fixed roads. They have done a really good job, what we're seeing in Department of Transportation. I don't know whose Department of Transportation, but because we do know Florida's up here with a road crew. And we all have also seen the 82nd Airborne and the 101st have been up here in droves with their equipment, pulling things out of rivers and working rough roads. So the roads are opening up a little bit more every day.
Yeah. Are a lot of the cutoffs like what we saw in that first clip, where you've got people that live up on a mountain or a ridge line and the rivers cut their bridge off, so they're basically landlocked? Is that what's going on as you get up to higher elevations more?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're dealing with in places like Poplar and Relief and Bentneck and these other small communities that have a lovely church, and they service maybe 200-300 people in their direct vicinity, or some of them say, our mountain. So it's really neat how these communities come together and how they take care of each other. And a lot of them are elderly. And we, especially in Poplar, they have a guy that goes around and he does maintenance on all the generators so that they can have heat and keep their refrigerator cold. And you have to do maintenance after every 200 hours. And you think about 24 hours in a day, it doesn't take long for you to have to change the oil in those things. And when there's 50 or 60 of them in a community, that guy's keeping pretty busy. And that's what we're finding, that when we were taking the helicopters and getting to these places that you still can't get to, or it takes a very long time to get to them by mule or ATV, that's where the helicopter operations and all of the people that have donated their time, including Mercury One, our friend Glenn Beck, and Greg Biffle, and those are the famous ones. We had a guy that took us up in his company's helicopter the first day on that Robinson 44. So, it's amazing how, again, we're not dealing with the military. We're not dealing with the government. This is citizens getting it done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we've got a question from the live audience. I'll go over to our host, Shell, and take that question.
Oh, Shell. Hey, girl. I miss you.
Hi, Chad. I miss you too, brother. Be safe, honey. We have conservative MAGA.
Thank you very much, Shell, for having me up. Thank you, Colonel Rob, for having the show today. I just wanted to first bless you, Chad, for all the work you guys are doing, you and your crew and all that. And I know throughout this, all the horrific stuff you're seeing and stuff, and what you guys are trying to do to give these people a level of light. The question to you is, the positive stories that I know you've mentioned and stuff like that, do we have any more voters on our side because of the stuff you guys are doing? Just wondering.
I heard everything but the very last part. What did he say?
Do we have any more voters on our side because of what you guys are doing?
You're damn right we do. This whole state has lost their mind and seeing what has happened with the Kamala Harris folks and everybody we've met, with the exception of one lady that recognized Boone Cutler. She wasn't a fan, but The rest of them, these people, and in every video I've done, we actually went to Poplar, or no, it was Big Creek. Big Creek, their LZ, when we landed in a helicopter, says MASH unit Trump 2024. Now, come on now. That's what I'm talking about. And, you know, I actually interviewed her. I'm going to be dropping her interview soon. And they are hell-bent for Donald Trump. And I'm not hearing anything else from anybody up here in these mountains. And we're hearing that, you know, my wife is in South Carolina. She talks to a lot of people. We talked to Miss Margot, who has been intricate in a bunch of our operations just because she knows so many people in the lay of the land. There's a lot of people upset in the Charlotte area that is pretty blue, but they're pretty upset about what's been going on over here and the stories they're seeing come out.
Yeah. So specifically, what are the people that are in the blue areas upset about? I mean, we hear rumor, but
you'll have to ask them. You'll have to ask them,
things.
Colonel. You'll have to ask them. It might be because FEMA is in $1 million trailer sitting behind a church in Asheville with water and electricity, and we're not seeing much of them. But you know, I'm not in charge of their operations, so I'm here to talk about what Heel Corp's doing, and you know, Padre Pio along with Spartan Sword. We're proud of what we're accomplishing. We are a small unit that is getting big things done, and you know, as you can see, we've already had IVs today because we are all exhausted and very dehydrated. So where we're at now is worrying about the mission at hand and letting the other governmental agencies. I'll let y'all figure that out in the press.
Yeah. So you mentioned Burnsville and Poplarville and a couple other small locations. How widespread has the area that you traveled to? I know I saw one video where you talked about Asheville. So how big of an area have you guys covered so far?
I don't even know. That's a great question. You know, as far as many miles, we'll have to ask Jason how many miles he's put on this poor truck, which was a beautiful truck till we got it. But my butt cheeks are definitely in the back seat. This is miles and miles and miles, and we keep hearing about new towns all the time. We just heard a big order, or a big truck just dropped a whole bunch of goods in a place called Minneapolis, North Carolina. It just seems like we keep finding more and more as where this water continued to go downhill, if you will.
Yeah. It's what are you hearing as far as the latest update on people that are still missing and unaccounted for? Are you guys hearing any of that discussion when you're talking directly with locals?
We are, and I have a great opportunity to be able to explain that a little bit more. You know, with the fatality numbers, you know, people are like, they're lying. They're not lying, and we found out why by talking to some cadaver dog teams, and we talked to a sheriff, and yes, the number is not anywhere close, but the problem is they have to identify the body before they can say X person is dead, right? So that number is going to be deflated because of the current situation and how the bodies are being found or recovered, for that matter. This was a very fast moving amount of water with a whole lot of scary stuff. We just showed you this big water tank and these cars. Imagine a human body being thrown down this hill in this water. So that is the number of lost is going to be much higher. And we know that. We have cadaver teams that we've talked to that have spots that they have pointed and that the dogs have found bodies. But the problem is they have to send out a chainsaw team or heavy excavation because the pile of debris could be 50 feet high. And where that body is or those remains are yet to be seen until that's cleared.
Yeah, we got to go to a break here in a second, but real quick, are the recovery teams or the identification and the recovery teams working together on that issue? Because obviously, as time goes on, the more problems that we have.
I don't know. Okay. I don't want to. What we're seeing is there are people trying to recover these bodies and trying to find them, and that's where we're going to stand for now.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to take a break, and we'll come back after this break with Chad Caton. And he's part of this small team of veterans that's working together with a whole bunch of other folks to bring aid and assistance to the people of Western North Carolina. We'll be right back on World YouTube.
We live in uncertain times. In fact, we live at a time when our own governments all over the world are warning us that there could be big problems with our power grid. World War III seems to be right on the horizon. Let me ask you this. Do you have a satellite phone? Should communications go down with cell towers? Do you have a satellite phone to get a hold of that college student or your spouse who travels, whatever it might be, to get a hold of your senior adult parents? We have satellite phones at worldviewtalk.com, and you get the satellite phone for free when you sign up for their very reasonable payment programs for the service. Sign up for the service with a reasonable contract, get the satellite phone for free. Worldviewtalk.com. You'll also find they have, well, what I now have, which is a solar generator. Yeah, I have a gas generator, an LP propane generator, but what if that goes down? I want to back up to my backup. So I now have a solar generator as well. You'll find them at worldviewtalk.com. Check it out today, worldviewtalk.com.
Hey everybody. All right, we switched down to Asheville for some supply operations here at Harley-Davidson. Asheville got far enough away from the Chinook, as you see behind me. They're still running operations, getting these supplies out to other people. The 101st Airborne and 82nd Airborne, there they go, taking off. It's gonna be hard to hear, hang on. So these Chinooks are taking all these supplies and running them out. As you can see here, we have two smaller helicopters here and here as the Chinook goes over the top. This is operation still going on in Asheville. They're also subsidizing there in Burnsville and over in Spruce Pine. Just giving you guys an update. We'll be here trying to assess them and allocate some different resources so we can get the stuff done.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. We're fighting the disaster war in Western North Carolina and the Great Smoky Mountains, as my family calls them affectionately, in the Appalachians there. My guest today is that man you just saw in the report of the Chinook helicopters from the United States Army Guard, and I believe active forces are now working the area. Chad, one of the questions that our audience has had is how can they send things directly to your team, like IV packs, that kind of stuff? Is that available? Capability available?
Well, I'm gonna bring Boone in here on this segment if you're okay with that here in a second. The biggest thing right now for Heal Corp is because we are rapid response, and I'll let Boone go into what people are needing and where they might be able to send it, because Boone is crushing it as far as logistics, and I want him to talk about that Harley-Davidson landing zone. That LZ and what those boys are doing is God's work, and with our other airdrop area in Avery, North Carolina, it's amazing. I want Boone to talk about it because he actually served with the guys that are running that. So I'm going to bring Boone in here real quick if you're good with that, Colonel. And I'm going to, we haven't taken a shower in 5 days, so he's going to put my ear thing in his ear thing. So it is what it is, right? So give me a second. Let me get Boone in here.
That's fine. Go ahead and bring him in. While they're getting their headset and mic set up, here we go. Boone Cutler, welcome to the Rob Maness Show.
Sir, thank you very much for having me on. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. It's a little loud here with the traffic and everything going on. Hey, I want to send a shout out before we go any further. You got to take care of the troops, right? The people who are doing the work on the ground. That clip you showed over at the Harley-Davidson dealership, that's Adam Smith. That's his crew. He's a good friend of mine. We've actually done a lot of advocacy work in the veteran community together. He's a fantastic guy out there in Swannanoa. And that's the Harley-Davidson dealership. They're calling that the Savage Freedom LZ. And those guys are straight. Everybody on the ground over there has been doing hero work from day one. And I cannot say enough good things about them. They're running cadaver dogs out of there. They're running helicopters out of there. the amount of movement going on really looks like you're looking at a base in Afghanistan. It's a lot of movement, a lot of activity, a lot of great work. Got to send them a shout out. Also, Dave Nunes at the Avery Airport in Spruce Pine. He's doing a great job up there too. We've also got Carl Johnson that's at another airfield that's doing wonderful work. Everybody's really, filling and flowing and working with each other. The people that are helping each other up here in Appalachia. Listen, this is America out here. This is what's going on. These people know how to take care of each other. They do a fantastic job. We can all learn from the people in Appalachia. I'll tell you that much. And the Army. We see the 82nd out here. I'm not sure if I saw the 101st or if I was just looking at combat patches, but the troops out here are moving stuff. They're motivated. They care. I mean, they truly, truly care, and they're putting their heart and soul into this thing. The people repairing the power lines, they're everywhere, and they're working constantly to get that going. These people don't have water. They don't have power. And I want to make sure that I say this because it's so direly important. We are assessing the next 90 to 120 days because a lot of stuff has come in, but it might not necessarily be the stuff that's going to be needed over the next 90 to 120 days. And that stuff is propane, gasoline, those little adapters that go at the end of the big bottle to put stuff in the little bottle as far as the propane goes. Those are in short supply and they're needed in every single home out here. And there's a lot of homes. And I can't stress enough the churches and how the churches and the congregations, the community centers are working as a team, setting up their own little fusion cells, making sure the information is going in and out. It's really amazing. America can learn from this. From tragedy comes triumph oftentimes, and the triumph here is the will of the American people.
You're absolutely right. And thank you very much for everything that you're doing to bring this to light, and the pre-planning and assessment that you guys are doing is critically important at this time because, as Chad said, it's going to get cold there really soon. I see you guys are already wearing jackets, so it's cooling off at night. How can people send things directly to your teams? Is one of the questions the audience has been asking.
Let me tell you exactly what they can do right away. First of all, propane. Those little adapters on the propane. Food, canned food is what they're asking for. The kerosene heaters, all that kind of stuff. You can go to Heal Corp, that's HEALCORP.org, healcorp.org. Go on the website there, contact us, and we'll give you the right place to push it to. We're out here in Yancey County, but there's other places that need stuff too, and we're getting a pretty good idea on how to communicate with everybody. We got a gal, Velma, she's backstopping us out of D.C. She's pulling data, scraping data, finding all the right contact information. So when stuff is coming in, we can really assess what the needs are in the different areas, and we can do a big push to those areas with the specific things they need to get the people through winter. That's the big push right now.
Yeah. Well, we've got a question from our audience. Dr. Kat Lindley over there. Shell, go ahead with this question for Boone and Chad.
Thank you, Colonel. So I'm friends with Boone and Chad, and I just want to make sure that not only are they taking care of themselves physically, but mentally. And Boone's Spartan Pledge stands, so make sure you're taking care of yourself, so I don't have to come and yell at you. Also, friends of mine are helping at the Avery Airport on medical side. So if you guys need anything specific there, let me know and we'll ship it to you.
Got to get this story out, Doc Cat. We were with Molly yesterday that was out, the nurse out of the airport there, and we went to a convalescent home. They're out of water. There's no running water. They're doing the best to take care of things. It's not in the best area of town. They've got a lot of problems in there, and that's a whole other different conversation. But, it's the people that are affected. We got to think about the elderly. We've got to think about the elderly and the children, those who have that are in the rurals that have survived this. They're in great need. Sadly, I have to report that there was a lot of rescues that have gone on, but there should have been a lot more rescues that went on, if you know what I mean. And this is really the part that over time this type of information will come out. But for right now, I just really want to focus on the resiliency of the people in Appalachia and say that there's a lot of great people out here. And I got to give it to the veteran community again. You know, it seems like every time there's some sort of disaster in this country, and this is unprecedented pretty much before OIF and OEF, you know, Iraq and Afghanistan wars. You know, this era of veteran came home and said, hey, I'm still going to be of service. It doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter where. I've got skills. I'm going to team up with my buddies. And I'm going to push forward. And even outside the warfighter community, that warrior class of Americans, guys like Jason Riddle, who just dropped everything at his financial business. He says, hey, I don't have the SAR skills, I don't have that stuff, but I can drive and I'm really resourceful. Let me dig in. And he has done a fantastic job coming out here with Heel Corp. He's the CFO at Heel Corp. He's a great guy. I got to make sure I give him some love. So again, I want to tell all the warfighter community out there, guys, we are leading by example, and we could do nothing better for this country but that exactly thing.
Yeah. Do you think that's why some of the pop-up organization logistically has become to the point where it's working like a well-oiled machine? It seems like everybody I talk to, and you're the third group of veterans that are working in this area that are giving me that indication.
You know, what Adam Smith did out there in Swannanoa about organizing their fusion cell, about getting stuff in, getting stuff out, troop to task. You know, he's a former SF soldier, and that troop to task, those types of skills and how to operate in environments that have not previously been occupied, you know, that really comes from the special operations community. You know, a lot of big Army troops out here doing a fantastic job. But the stuff that Adam has done out there, I mean, that guy deserves an award from the president, I'm telling you.
Well, and you mentioned the Army folks. Are they able to fall in on Adam's work? Is that what's happening with the Chinooks and the other choppers coming in and picking up supplies and hauling people?
That's exactly right. The word has kind of got out, like, hey, if you come into this area, stop over at the Harley dealership, get some time with Adam. And I'm not kidding. There's a line of people. People come up. I called him and say, hey, bro, I'm in the area. He said, come on by. I'll give you a brief. We get there. We do the quick down and dirty. He gives me the assessment of things going on. I kind of figure out where, okay, this is where I can plug in, take off, go do my thing. But people are rotating through there and linking up with him because he's probably done the best curation that I've seen, the best curation of information and resources and allocating those resources. Aircraft, I mean, they got guys running the airfield over there. Again, volunteers came in as veterans, and they're just making it happen. The FAA was nice enough to allow that to be used. That's got authorization from the FAA. So, I mean, that type of interagency cooperation among agencies and the troop to task, the people, he's just made it happen. I mean, I'm not joking when I say the president of the United States needs to give Adam Smith an award.
That would be a great ceremony. It's a great name, Adam Smith, too. Great American historical name. And so when we hear about this, you're, like I said, you're the third group that I've talked to. I talked to the United Cajun Navy guys last week. They told me a very similar story about the location that they were operating out of. Are there other organizations out there that may not be getting the visibility like Adam's work and those kind of things that we need to highlight?
There are a lot of organizations out here, but I want to say it this way. There are organizations, but it's really veterans who just showed up with groups of their buddies and filling in wherever organizations are going. I wish I could remember the organization that's running the Cadaver Dogs or several organizations that's running them, because those guys are heroes. They're out there doing a lot of hard work. Colton Smith was out here with Dan and Anthony. Colton Smith, MMA champion. He came out, took time off from the military, and just was clearing land, helping people, identifying people in the backwoods so we could push them what they needed to get. It's just, I can't give enough love. You know, Samaritan's Purse has done a fantastic job. Mercury with Glenn Beck doing a fantastic job. Who else am I thinking of, guys? Any other names am I missing? These are the Richard Petty Foundation. Richard Petty, they're pushing a bunch of propane to us because Chad reached out and saw that need, so they're pushing propane. And this Greg Biffle Foundation, also got to give them a big shout out. Love these guys. Elon Musk doing a great job with the Starlink. They definitely need more Starlink because communications out here is rough, very, very rough. And that's really been a hindrance in a lot of ways because people are trying to meet face to face, but there's only so many places you can meet face to face at one time. And then so sharing the information has been rough because comms are down. So anything that can be improved, if there's someone out there listening and watching that works at some sort of national level that can really push some help to get the comms back up here, the cell comms, that would be fantastic. And also, I got to tell everybody out there, I know there was a lot talking about, the hurricane that was going to hit Florida, and I'm glad it wasn't worse than what it was, and everybody down there affected, God bless them. We send our love to you, and I'm hoping you're getting the help that you need. You're great people. But there's so many things happening around the country. We don't want people to forget this. And anybody listening, this is the public information that needs to get out. We know you've been traumatized in this area. There's a little bit of tunnel vision going on. Open up your tunnel vision and start thinking about your needs and your supplies over the next 90 to 120 days. If you have pregnant ladies in your community, think about how you're going to get them out. If you have elderly people who are sick that may have medical conditions, start thinking about how you're going to get them out. And also work as a team to be able to come up with your own distribution plan, be able to get stuff in and get stuff out, just in case stuff isn't arriving.
Yeah, great advice, Spoon. Well, we got to take our last break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Boone Cutler, Chad Caton. They're working Western North Carolina, and we'll get an update from Margot, who has been listening in from the audience, who's also been very effective in helping these guys out. I'm Rob Maness on Worldview Tube and our X Basis simulcast.
Good morning, everybody. Man, I'm tired. But we did get a shower, or now it's in a bag. This is how we take showers. So I haven't showered in a couple days, so I'm excited about this. So here we are in West Yancey. We are being deployed. Our mules are here. They had a little accident, but our mules are here. We're trying to get plugged in. There's a place called Pensacola. They refuse to let anybody in. We're not real sure, but it's crazy. We got some recordings we'll put out later. But we do know of the cold situation. We're trying to get people all of this coats and heaters and everything else. We're going to keep continuing giving you some updates today, but good morning. Make sure you go out and do something, and let's get Donald Trump elected so this doesn't happen again.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. We're fighting the disaster war here in the United States of America up in the Great Smoky Mountains of Western North Carolina especially, and that's Chad Caton in the video there. And he and Boone Cutler have been my guests today. They're with Heel Corps on a operation up in that area to bring relief and do some pre-planning and assessment because winter is coming, as they say in a commonly loved TV show, and it's definitely coming. You're less than 90 days from Christmas, and I don't know who's still with me, whether it's Boone or Chad or both of you guys. Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. Less than 90 days, it'll be Christmas, Chad. So Boone is right. The winter weather is coming in. how are you guys looking at the timeline? What are your planning factors? And Boone covered a little bit of that, but specifically, you're identifying certain items that need to be brought in, and they need to be brought in now, right? No delays.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The biggest thing is we're really trying to make sure we can establish the heat situation, potable water, and then as a subset to that, being able to have a community center that we're able to get if a catastrophe or say 5 feet of snow, we don't know what's coming. That there's going to be a place for them to coalesce around as their community, as they've done in this storm, and they all know who to go get. They have their side-by-sides, their ATVs. We're really trying to bring that organization together, organizational aspect of this mission together, along with what's coming, that will come in, even be it more generators, the apparatus that connects the 20-pound propane tank to the instead of the 5-pound. That's what we're really focused on right now. And also understanding distribution points so we don't have issues. There's looting going on. We just heard about a church today that, and I don't know if they want to know where they're at, but we heard another church today that had all of their stuff stolen. We're working with Avery out there with Dan, and we're going to try to reconstitute what they lost. We know of Bailey, North Carolina, had 3 trucks with a ton of supplies in it stolen. We have nurses that go into these communities and won't go unless there's an escort or armed escort or one of us go with them. This is not lawless, but we're definitely starting to see people that think they can come up here and take advantage of these people, and we're not standing for it, and neither will the people of Appalachia.
Yeah, perimeter security, colloquially, it always becomes an issue at some point, and it sounds like you guys are right there where that boundary line is. So be careful. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves and your own security too. And you mentioned some of the rumor stuff that we hear about. That's one of the things I wanted to ask you guys about. Is
Colonel,
there's a rumor out there. And you mentioned people wanting armed security to go into some of these communities, but there's not any community that's threatening anybody, is there? I mean, I heard a rumor that they're threatening the National Guard guys, but when I see the video, they're cheering the National Guard when they land. So,
we're hearing the same rumor mill of, and we're hearing that FEMA is making everybody stay at their house because of some militant situation. We don't know anything about that. We've not seen anything about it. And frankly, I doubt it's true, but it's not my pay grade, right? I'm worried about the people of Appalachia, the people that are taking care of the people in Appalachia, and whatever that dictates for me, Boone and Jason, we're going to do what we need to do along with the other teams we have with Fulton out there, and we can come together real fast. And like, I'm going to reiterate what Boone said about Adam. That dude needs a presidential award without a doubt. And I'll do whatever I can. I know Boone will. If we get Donald Trump back in the White House, I'm going to make sure he's recognized. However, I got to do it. But the people up here, we're not worried about that type of thing, and we're not gonna worry about it. If it shows itself, I assure you we'll handle it, and we'll handle it quickly.
Yeah, and I guess my question was, you're talking to all kinds of locals, and I'm not seeing it. I'm just seeing them taking care of each other, taking care of you guys, and everybody's got their shoulder to the wheel.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We wake up every morning bright-eyed and bushy-tailed because Boone likes you to be on time when it's time to get in the rig, and we got to get him a banana. He's very clean eater, and me and Jason, we've decided we're at fat camp because it's hard to get food, and we're just hauling everywhere. So that's why we had to get some IVs today because and a little B12. So big shout out to Dr. Barb up there at Avery Airport. The cutest lady in the world. She actually, when I left the room today, said, "Chad, smile at me and say goodbye." And I smiled at her. I said, "Goodbye, ma'am." and that these are the people that I'm already looking for a place to get a place up here because I love Appalachia. I love Western North Carolina, and the people are in my heart. And we're going to be here for a while. I might need to go home to recharge and give baby Diesel and my wife a hug. But damn it, if I'm not coming back to do whatever we need to do with Heel Corp, Padre Pio, and Spartan Sword. And before we go on to another question, or you get out of here, I need to put a face to the mystery man that is Jason Ridgel, and this is our financial advisor right here. And don't we look like guards on a football team? I mean, damn it, poor Boone doesn't get a chance to sit anywhere. But we appreciate Jason, and he is the CFO of Heel Corp, and he's been our driver, if you will. And let me tell you, he's the dude I want as my bunkie in a jail because he can source some stuff pretty quick too. The Black Hawk that you see in those pictures is because he got left back because we're too big to be in the same helicopter for the smaller helicopters. And so he's like, well, if that's going to happen, I'm going to go find the only privately owned Black Hawk in the United States and get it for us to use. I love this dude, man. He's my brother. We've been in the ship for a while. And he still doesn't stink because he's very LL Bean. We're more tactical, but I love that about him. You got anything for the people?
No, I just want to reiterate what these guys are talking about, and the resilience up here, and just making sure this message doesn't disappear from. I know it's something else is going to occur, but these people are going to need long-term help. There's a lot of major damage, and it's the size of Belgium up here. The amount of damage and destruction. We do have a mobile medical unit that's going to be available to these folks. We're going to be rotating that. We've got tents. We're working with Adam Smith and his team. We're working with the team up there in Avery, and we want to continue to do the intelligence work we're doing to make sure the logistics and everything gets where it needs to go. And we're here for the long haul. And that's about it. Thanks, everybody.
I hope y'all can hear that because we're using the AirPods, so I don't know if you could hear that, but Jason said a bunch of nice stuff about a bunch of people. So did you hear that?
Yeah, we heard him loud and clear. Nice job on that, Chad.
Nice job, Jason. Creative. Look at Jason doing hits, Boone. Woo!
One of the questions,
here, little wins.
One of the questions I get a lot when I do these shows. This is the third one, as I mentioned, with a team that is in that location. Is there a central, like a command center for all of the small organizations, civilian organizations, to call into to get contacts like Adam Smith at the Harley Davidson LZ and those kind of things?
No. And there's a reason for that isn't overtly understood in the guise of emergency management, okay? Because if you put out a number for the EOC or the Emergency Operations Center or where we have our hub, then the phone rings all day, say, can I bring you guys Cheetos? Can I bring you guys pillows? Can I bring, and that's great. And we're not getting away from that. But we have to stick to the mission at hand. And when people do want to, there's so many organizations all over North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, that are trying to get stuff to us. We don't have a specific number. But if you go to heelcorp.org, they can do a contact there if you have some of the things we're talking about, the specifics. And I know it's really hard. That's why when people say, Chad, what can I send you? You know me, Colonel. I don't even sell T-shirts. But this is what we need so that we can take that $200 or $100 or $50 somebody sends us, and we can go buy 20 or 5 or 6 20-pound propane tanks, throw them in the back of Jason's truck, and run up the mountain. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So there are a ton of organizations out there. Go to heelcorp.org, and you can donate, which we would love for you to do so that we can continue to do this out here. Nobody's taking a paycheck. All that money is going directly into this. I have the CFO sitting right here, and we appreciate all that can donate to it. And we're getting things done on the ground and getting them the information or getting them the products they need in order to survive the winter. That's what we're talking about. Surviving the winter, not living, but surviving. They're going to be a while before they live comfortably like they were once before.
Well, the people up in that area, they're hardy stock, so they're used to living hard. This whole soft living in the 21st century is still a little bit unusual for somebody to go all the way down that path in that part of the world. Got about 30 seconds left, Chad. Please give that website one more time and talk about what your guys' next step is. How long are you going to be there in a specific manner, and what can folks expect?
Go to healcorp.org, healcorp.org, in conjunction with Padre Pio and Spartan Sword. It's a phenomenal organization, and the people. We are led here on Team Boone as they talk to us at the Juicy Lucy, the only restaurant we might be able to get food at night. And we are Team Boone, and we're out here getting things done on the ground. And I just want everybody to remember this. This is not hyperbole. This isn't anything that we are trying to get clicks for. This is real life and real problems. And we need you, the American people, to support healcorp.org. And I promise you, we may go home for a minute, but we'll come back. We're not leaving the Appalachian people, and we're going to make sure we can get them through this winter.
Absolutely right, man. That's why I'm doing this show, and I'm going to do it every week. I'm not going to let people forget about what's going on up there, because these are America's people, and we're going to take care of each other. So healcorp.org, healcorp.org. Thank you to Chad, Kate, and Boone Cutler, and Jason, the CFO of Healcorp, for coming on the show today. And we'll get them back, because there's always going to be a challenge with this kind of work. And that challenge right now is winter time's coming, and there's a lot of elderly people that need help still. And we got to make sure they're all sorted out and got a place to go. I'm Rob Maness, and I'll see you tomorrow on Training Tuesday. Cliff Maloney from Pennsylvania, and the Pennsylvania ballot chase is back with us to give us an update. Good things going on in Pennsylvania, folks, and that's a good sign for the winner of the next presidential election. And we all know who that needs to be, Donald J. Trump.